What's up, everybody? Wake up! Wake up! I know, it's probably annoying. And I wonder why I can't watch my own live feeds. Got the emails going on from the brokers. It's Monday morning. If you are at home looking for a load, I wish you luck. You'll probably find what you're looking for. I don't have any coffee yet. We're still brewing. But it's back there. We'll have to grab it. So, you guys, I hope everybody enjoyed the 18-hour live feed that James Best did last night. I made a couple appearances on it. One point I was settling, that was stupid. That was the stupidest thing I've said all morning. There was an argument, and I was trying to show the logical way that it can't, it's basically an argument that you can't win. And that was a failed mission. And then later on, we talked about, truck shows. That was fun, going down memory lane. And then we talked about some political stuff, some military stuff, which I have no knowledge of any military. My dad was a Marine. I have two sisters that served, one in the Navy, one in the Air Force. I did not follow that path, and kudos to the ones that did. But anyways, we'll get some people in here. Excuse me. We'll get some people in here, and we'll do some shout outs. But yesterday was this has been a good productive 2 days. I did a killer pan load down to Denton, Texas. And this is how great this market is. I got $3 a mile on a 500-mile load to come out of Texas. Can you believe that? 2 years ago, that would have been like, yeah, you're getting $1.50, biatch. But and you'll like it. But no, this is going up, and then the truck's got to go back in the shop. Yay! So we have a situation that does not bode well. So it's not anything safety related, so get that out of your head. But we're definitely it's a small thing that could potentially be bigger. It could be nothing, who knows. So anyways, that beep means that my coffee pot beeps, and I don't know why. It doesn't mean it's done. It's still brewing. That little tiny coffee pot, guys, you got to get the little tiny coffee pot. Leave the Keurigs at home. Get a real coffee pot. And you'll like yourself better in the morning. So anyways, let's do some shout outs here. We've got Don Schonger, you are first. Other Trucker James Best, Grafton, Sage News, John Armstrong, AJ Jones, good morning. Let's see, the post trip, good morning, Spectre. Yep, James Best says good times. Grafton, he is. James doesn't sleep, guys. I think if your name is James, every James that I know doesn't sleep very well. He was crazy. He was very loud. James has got a lot of repressed anger. I don't know if you guys have noticed that about him. James hates my style of music, right? He hates like the death metal stuff. But I think if he became a death metal vocalist, I think that would suit him well, because he would get some of the anger, that aggression out. I mean, everybody wonders why I can be so chill sometimes. That's because all the anger and misery I've let out vocally for a long time. I mean, remember the part, James, where you were yelling at Clampett, saying why. That was some impressive vocalizing right there, dude. If I had a brain, if I had any kind of technological savvy, I would take that segment and turn it into a death metal song. That's what I would do, and I could do that. So, quick hit, what's up? Trashy Trucker Show RD, you got the eyeballs. Get the eyeballs. I got the Keurig single shot, I love it. See, that's the problem, John. Here's a cup of coffee. No. You need a pot. Now, granted, it's a little pot of coffee. But, yeah. Keurigs. Guys, there's some videos out there floating around of how dirty and moldy the Keurigs get because you can't clean the water chambers. So take that to the bank. And they're very wasteful, man. They're very, very, like, I can carry one small coffee can, or I can have a huge box of those stupid cup things that take up way more space. And if you guys have ever seen inside my truck, you would know that I need as much space as possible. Anthony Bressler. Let's see. Key rig rules? No, it doesn't. But hey, you know what? I respect your opinion, and I will not yell at you for it. So there's that. So, Pam, how's it going? So, I was just listening to some Howard Stern, and I think I'm going to cancel my Sirius XM or figure out a way to not pay for it because it was just absolutely atrocious. And I used to be a Howard Stern fan. My friend Richard Christie's on the show, and and I'm very happy for him because he's doing exactly what he wants in his life. However, yeah, the hatred towards the unsticked was pretty. It was pretty brutal. I was like, that's crazy. You're a coffee snob, Grafton. It's okay to be a coffee snob. It really is. Now, well, let me take it back. If you're a coffee snob that has to have the $5 Starbucks every morning, okay, whatever floats your boat, but a coffee snob is the guy that goes and looks at the upper shelves at the grocery store and gets the cool coffee, gets the, I like Black Rifle. Right now I'm liking Black Rifle, and I like Cameron's. Provost, what's up? And I like, what's the other one I like? I like Dunkin' Donuts. I do not do Starbucks anymore. And the only blend that I really liked from them was the blonde. So Walmart's got a version of that, the blonde roast. Because a lot of people don't realize that a light roast has more caffeine because you're not cooking bean as long, right? Now, Big Rig CEO was set, you need to talk to me today because I want to talk about what happened to you at in Springfield there. But Big Rig CEO, he's a big Starbucks guy. I once ran from Pennsylvania to Illinois with him. We might have been all going all the way to the ER because we were both at Transland at the time. I think we spent about $60 a piece on Starbucks coffee and food. He's very high maintenance on the road. So, but yeah, we spent, and he's like, Starbucks is the greatest thing. Now, the most impressive thing about Big Rig CO is he can tell you across the entire nation, any state, any and every state, he can tell you how to get into a Starbucks. He'll be like, okay, so what you do is get off at exit 153 on I whatever, and then you got to go in through the Kmart parking lot, and then when you park there, and then you can walk across the street. But if you can't make it in there, what you do is, if it's before 8 o'clock, you got to go through this part, and then you get off at exit 152, and then you turn around in the gas. I mean, he's that guy, to the point that I told him he needed to develop an app that specifically told you how to get into each Starbucks with a big truck. And there was one particular moment where there's a place outside of St. Louis off of 44, and he made my trainee. I had a trainee with me. He was in the truck in front of me. I had a trainee with me, and then my trainee curbed a curb like this high. It was horrible. It was horrible. And he said, he told my trainee, it says, if you can make that turn, what was it, Big Rig? If you can make that turn without curbing, I will give you, like, it was like $5 or something like that. It was a bet, and he lost that bet. I mean, Big Rig won the bet. So. Oh, let's do it this way. Load up the cup. We will also get the ceramic cup. You guys talks amongst yourself for a minute. Sure you will. Live feed has been brought to you by Folgers. Folgers is good stuff too. Actually, it's a Folgers can with Camerons in it. Anyways, let's see. I consider Black Rifle in that group of small roasters because of how it came about. Yeah, and they're very military friendly. They were putting a lot of posts during the Afghanistan thing. My favorite blend of theirs right now is Gunship and Elk Hunter. Those two are really good. I'm not a huge fan of dark blends. I know you like blondes. But yeah, Grafton, I try to support the small roasters. There's Five Finger Lakes out of New York. That was some really good coffee. That was excellent coffee. Shannon, what's up? Let's see. It's all coffee to you. At this point, the only reason I have XM is for Coast to Coast and the Power Hour. I like the music channels. Whenever I'm out, I have the app too. So whenever I'm out with the family, we'll just put that on. But the new Chevy doesn't have Bluetooth. And my wife's car she just bought doesn't have Bluetooth because we don't buy brand new vehicles. We buy older vehicles. And the way Chevy has the stereo set up, I don't know if I can put an aftermarket stereo easily in there or what, but I'm sure you can, but it costs probably like $3,000 or something. So it doesn't even have an auxiliary. At least my wife's car has an auxiliary. So I would buy it in the bag and make it in the truck to save time. And it saves money too. Southbound, what's up? Hopefully trailer's ready today. In the meantime, selling your boat. Wow. That's the second time you've said that. You're gonna need a bigger boat. You hunting sharks there, big rig? Jeff Like opened my eyes to fuel mileage. Yeah, I mean that's what Jeff's good for is he's got. Look, I'm not going to turn this into a Jeff kissing contest, but Jeff saw I was struggling at Landstar, and he helped me basically resurrect my business because I was failing at Landstar. To a certain degree, I just sometimes your first truck. A lot of people are like, oh, my first truck's going to be a 2022 Mac or a 2022 Peterbilt. Yes, that can happen, but if you want to keep your costs low, sometimes you can't just get into that brand new truck. I mean, if you have a Schneider Finance truck, or like in Nevada's case where he's got that Peterbilt through the carrier, yeah, you can get into a new truck. But for a guy that's putting some money down, buying it on his own without the help of a company, you're not going to get your dream truck for the first time. If you do, it's rare. I mean, James Best got the truck he wanted. Well, not necessarily. He originally applied for a Pro Star because he wanted that. But sometimes you just got to settle with what you get. Anyways, the fuel mileage was a big issue, and once I got into this truck, the fuel mileage went up, the payment went down, and then I had consistent freight with Schneider, and it was a triple win. So. Quick hit, what's up? But yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing with running a business. The numbers are right there in front of you. There's no mystique. There's no hidden agenda. There's no the math does not lie. And you can tell when someone's lying, i.e. Biden in his speech, when the numbers don't add up, right? And and look, I have no issue with people that like the big hooded trucks. I like the big hooded trucks. My issue with big hooded trucks is comfort and some of the places I go into. I like my quicker steering radius. I like having that extra 5 feet in the beginning. I mean, I remember RD, he hit an obstacle that was no issue for me at the same customer. So, but if you want that kind of truck, which is fine, you're going to pay for it. So it's all a wash at the end, right? So if a fleet truck isn't worth as much when you go to sell it, but a big hooded truck is, well, the big hooded truck still costs you more to run it per mile than the fleet truck. So at the end of the day, it's all the same money. And that's why you see a lot of tanker companies and flatbed companies and maybe some custom reefer companies that run the big hooded trucks. But as generic dry van, hey, I'm clicking loads on Uber and calling C.H. Robinson kind of loads, it could be more of a challenge. I'm not saying shouldn't do it. I'm not saying he can't do it. But I'm saying that there is a challenge to it. But there's also something to be said of wanting to get in the truck. If the truck is just a tool, then it's just a job. But if you live and eat and breathe, the old school trucking vibe, and that's a thing for you, then looking back at your truck. I mean, I have pictured in my head, the nice looking W9 in front of my house, or keeping up with the Joneses at the Joplin Truck Show, which is coming up at the I believe on the 23rd to the 25th of September. So mark those dates down. I will be there. So do you endorse Pedigree? I'm sure you're saying Pedigree. I don't know about endorsing them. I know that a friend of mine, Shane Ferris, he runs a company called Green Miles out of Missouri. In fact, if I wasn't signed on with Like Trucking, I'd probably be signed on with them. They run primarily reefer, but if you have your own trailer, you can do whatever you want. But he buys all of his trucks and all of his trailers from Pedigree. And he's had no issues. Now, I tried to look at some trucks at Pedigree when I was looking for my first truck. They were kind of hard to get a hold of, and after a while, I just gave up on them. But I have heard good things. But like any other dealership right now, they're charging premium prices. But I do recommend an X Prime truck. Prime is one of the best kept fleet trucks out there. My truck is an X Prime truck. I've only known one person that had a lot of bad luck with an X Prime truck, but I think a lot of it's how it's maintained. If you can get a 2 or 3 year truck that was a 2-year lease that was turned in early, or 3-year lease that was turned in early, those are the best trucks to get. But I've seen Prime shop personally, and it's very clean, it's very organized. At least it was 10 years ago. I don't know what it looks like now, but I would have no issues buying another X Prime truck. So, Right Lane, what's up? Yeah, and see, Inspector is agreeing with me on the Pedigree. The reason the obstacle wasn't a problem for you is because I already moved it out of your way. That's true. There are easier ways to do that there, RD. That is true. My shaker is X Prime. Yeah, and you can always tell the X Prime trucks, they got that weird graphics on the side or whatever, but TLG had a whole batch of Peterbilt's 579s over there. I got one of the last 680s when 2014 680s came out, Prime was one of the first companies to get them, and that's the batch that I tapped into. But yeah, they're solid trucks, and Prime has a checklist that they have to follow before they get rid of the truck, whether it be Pedigree or back to the dealership. They put new DPF filters on. There's a whole checklist that they have to follow. Prime, and I believe Walmart does that. The other company, as Spectre well knows, is Walmart. If you can find an old Walmart truck, they're not run hard. They all have APUs. They're barely lived in. That's the thing about a Prime truck, is if it was a trainer's truck, you might want to save some money back for transmission. I needed a new clutch within the first year I had this truck. But now with the automated, that may not be as bad, but for the most part, Walmart trucks are driven by experienced drivers. They don't really live in them. They keep them clean. They have APUs on them, and Walmart maintains their equipment. So, but so if you're looking for a used truck, find a dealership that has the X Walmart or the X Prime trucks, and they're not hard to find. Walmart obviously has the markings that are pretty easy to find, and then so does Prime. So if you can get, I got extremely lucky because I have all the records that were ever done in MHC on this truck before I bought it. And then I also have kept everything. So whoever gets this truck, if I end up selling it, if it doesn't just rot out in the field somewhere, which is a good possibility, you will have all the maintenance records from day one of this truck, because I've got them in a binder. Kenworth at Springfield was nice enough to print them out for me. The old ones, it was like 90 pages. And yeah, so whoever buys this truck off of me, because I'm like RD, I'm going to sell it for $200,000. Whoever does that, they will get all the paper. The binder's like that thick. It's kind of, you don't really know how much you get your truck worked on until you see it on paper. Yeah, you can look at the money aspect, but when you see the physical receipts, it's kind of mind-blowing. Walmart slip seats their trucks and doesn't take very good care of them. I disagree with that. Prime will give you every record on any piece of equipment you buy from Pedigree. Yes, and that's the other advantage. Now, I know Steve Berger, he had bought an X Prime 680 from TLG in Indiana, and he was not able to acquire the record, so I'm not sure what was up with that. Oh, let's refill this here. Alright, we're back. But look, when it comes to buying a truck, you gotta do some homework. It's not like buying a car at all. I mean, you could do research on your car and what's gonna last or whatever, but you know, you gotta face it, these new cars, you don't know if they're gonna last or not. They're not tried and true. You only go by brands at that point. Trucks are a whole different game. Every brand has its pros and cons. Every style has its pros and cons, you know, and everybody's needs are different. But to show up at Billy Bob's Big Rig Emporium in the middle of, you know, Atlanta, you may not get the best quality trucks. And so I'm a firm believer that you want to go through true dealerships that can offer you good warranties, and you can get the truck's history and background. You know, in a situation, unless you're looking for just that single custom truck, like Quality Truck Sales in Stratford, they do the big hooded trucks. They've also got fleet trucks, but they do the big hooded trucks. And that's where you got to go by reputation. You know, check the Google reviews, talk to people that have bought trucks from there, get on the social media and say, hey, who's bought trucks from this and this dealer? What was your experience? And then take everything with a grain of salt, because I remember at GATS last time I was talking to somebody about a friend's experience at MHC in Dallas. In their booth, and the bigwig, he overheard me, and he goes, hey man, I'm interested to know what your story is. So I told him, and he gave me a business card. He's like, look, please, if you ever need our services and you have any issues, you call me. I will make sure that you're taken care of. And so they're playing damage control, and that's essentially, look, if you go to Google reviews, and this is important in any business, if you go to Google reviews and you see a lot of bad reviews, see if the business is responding. And if they are responding, how are they responding? For example, there's a tool store that they had a lot of bad reviews, and it was really kind of surprising, because I know the owner and we got along. You know, I took my CCW class there, but there's two guys that work in there underneath them that just have really crappy attitudes. And because I did an FFL through them, and they had this attitude about it. And then, but the other aspect is, when you get on Google reviews, they were nasty on the replies to the negative reviews. And those guys were charging $80 for a box of 9. A 50 box count of 9, and that was insane. I don't care. That's taking advantage, and their prices really haven't dropped, even though Bass Pro's got a whole aisle right now of 9. So it's. But you watch the reviews of any business and see how they respond. If they go, hey, we'd really like to remedy this, please call me at this number or email me and we can get this resolved. Those are the kind of businesses you at least want to give a shot, because at least they're proactive on responding to, because they don't want the negative press out there, because we live in a world where social media can make or break your business. Social media can make or break your life, to be honest with you. Buying a truck right now, expect to pay 15 to 20% more for used truck under 3 years. Yes, John. A friend just paid $100,000 for a truck with 380,000 miles on it. Take that to the bank. I paid $60,000 for this truck with 380,000 miles on it. No, I was using the FFL. I don't have much. No, I'm not that cool, right lane. Any good mom and pop drive-in dealer around Illinois, Indiana, Michigan? Olgar, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. And you're going to pay a premium price. I know Big Rick CO just bought a reefer trailer out of a place out of, what, Dallas? The other thing you can do is, like, I know Wilson in Springfield, Missouri, they're a trucking company. They sell their old trailers and trucks and trailers, but the trailers are kind of beat up. I don't know if I'd recommend that, but the trucks look pretty nice. They got Freightliners and Peterbilts. That's annoying. I bought, well, I bought, oh, you said Dryman. I thought you said reefer. I bought my trailer from Scientific in Saginaw, and Jeff was mentioning the other day that they weren't going to have any new trailers until April. So my worst fear right now is if I have to buy equipment, like if my trailer gets totaled out of my control, or if the truck, you know, has something go wrong. Replacing equipment is just really expensive right now, and if you can even get the parts, so, or you know, or whatever, so you're going to pay out the nose either way. I do not have, and this is kind of goes against my thinking, but I do not have a positive outlook for things in the future. We'll just leave it at that. We're not going to do the doom and gloom, but we are also, you know, I'm just kind of staying the course at this point. But anything else you guys want to talk about? We had 42 people in. We lost 10 of them talking about trucks, I guess. But we can talk about whatever you want. I'm on my way to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then if I can't find a shorty, then I got to take a truck to the shop. So, trying to think. There was something else I was going to mention, but I can't remember now. So bring up a topic, Talkaholic. I see you in here. The other thing about making truck or coffee in your truck is it smells like coffee in the truck. Would you consider a new truck? Yeah, but I mean, I would need a ton money down, because I would want that monthly payment down, or the opposite, get the payments as high as possible so the truck can be paid off in 3 years. I'd probably lean more towards get as much down now. The new 680s, I really dig how they look, and I like the Volvo Globetrotters. I really like those two trucks. When will the shortages be over? That's the part that I'm not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel there. That's the part that makes me not positive for the future. China controls a ton of our materials and freight, and they keep getting these outbreaks. And the things that we're good at making, like beverages and food and paper, you know, we got those industries in the bag, but I don't know. The car plants have shut down. Truck manufacturers have laid off workers. And Walmart's supply chain is messed up. Any of you have been into Walmart, you know what I'm talking about, but it's hitting other grocery stores as well. So I'm thinking this is going to be this is going to go for quite a while, at least until 2022. John, you also bought it pre-shortage world. Where do you see the economy heading by winter? I'm not an economist, but what goes up must come down. And inflation, I think, is still happening. I don't know. I don't pay attention. I pay attention, but I don't. All I know is that I'm paying more for steak in the grocery store. All the streaming services keep upping their prices. And it's getting to the point where I'm eating more and more in the truck because I went to a TA the other day and I bought 3 things. I was like, oh, that'd be $18.75. I'm like, what? And I literally put everything back. I was like, no, this is ridiculous. Now, I like the new 680s, yes. Smith Transport is offering guaranteed $93,600 annually 2 weeks out. Logistically Stir, what's up? Right now, Smith Transport, my first truck was an ex-Smith Transport truck. That's pretty good coin. As a company driver. So that's really good. And 2 weeks out ain't bad. 2 weeks is a good compromise. Home every other weekend. Usually you need to restart by then. That's how I've ran up until the last couple of years. Consistently, when I was a company driver, that's what we did. I think I stayed out 3 weeks at a time every now and then, but I'm not the guy that's going to spend 3 months in the truck. I love trucking, but you know, I don't know. Yeah, 2 weeks is good. 2 weeks is, you know, and the deal I always had with my dispatcher was, look, I'll run when you need me to, just give me the weekends that I request off. And I would try to space them. Now, knowing what I know about self-dispatch and how trucking and companies really work, I was probably a more pain in their ass than a benefit to them. Anytime that you request home time and they got to rely on the spot to get you home, or, you know, freight, the market is not that great, it becomes a liability. And for me, a lot of the times when I need to be home was for a show, a gig, or a kid's birthday, you know, and that kind of thing. And I think I've done a pretty good job. I never missed a show, and I've never missed a Christmas. I've missed a couple of Halloweens, you know, back when the kids were cute and trick-or-treated or whatever. I think I've missed a couple of Easters, but I've never missed Christmas. And then there's only one Thanksgiving I missed, and that was the first year I was driving. So, and my dad was pretty good about that too. But again, he was self-dispatched when he was an owner-operator. So I take pride in the fact that I try to balance home time with the family, with the truck, and with the band. So, and when you have true balance, you get contentment. With contentment, you can pretty much conquer anything. So now, could I be making a lot more money by staying out? You know, I've done the math, and even if I stay out for 30 days, that means I'm probably going to take a week off. And so you're still at an average of 25 days a month, you know, in the grand scheme of things for each quarter. And so why not just be home every other weekend, especially if you live in a good freight area. Now, if you live in Denver, or if you live in Miami, or you live in, you know, Maine, that's going to be more of a challenge. You can't really run like I do. And so that's why, you know, there's not a one size fits all. What I do may not work for you. You know, I literally live rock's throw from I-44. I-44 is a great freight lane, and it goes to all points that are better freight lanes. So I was watching a Prime YouTuber. He has a brand new 22 Peterbilt. It's been in the shop 3 times. Prime said they are having issues with all the new trucks, so buying new ain't always the best option. Does a significant other go out with you? No, she's only gone out one time. It was just, I was picking up a load in West Plains, about 100 miles, and she, you know, and it was coming back to the house. So she went with me on that, but she's never been overnight with me. John, that's the thing. When you put a new truck to a heavily used truck, there's really not a whole lot of difference, believe it or not, in running costs. Because what you lack in payment on a used truck, you have a new payment with the new truck. And so it all boils down to your shop, downtime, and the warranty in the new truck, or if you can handle it in the old truck. And so that didn't make sense. But anyways, warranties can give you a false sense of security. And warranties do not help with downtime, and they do not help with missing or hard to order parts. And the thing that I would not like about the new 680 is that whole digital dash, because it is completely reliant on computers and chips and everything, and to even see anything. If that goes bad, you know, how are you going to know what's going on? So that would kind of, I would not be the guy that, oh, I'm in a new truck, you know, so I'm good to go. No, I'd be even more nervous about a breakdown than in a used truck. The only, well, let me rephrase that. The first time I was ever on a hook was in a truck that only had 9,000 miles on it. And it was because of, you guessed it, a depth sensor. So, Timbuktu, Colorado sucks. Yes, right, Lane. I've heard about your off the gridness. I have to admit, Eddie helped, and God was on my side buying this truck. AD Transport Express never gives me a hard time about time off. Good deal, Truman. And that's important. Look, if you're valuable to your company and you get along with your dispatcher and they've got a good freight base that makes it easy, that's the company you want to be with. You know, and that's what I did. I had 5 different dispatchers in the 6 years I was at Transland, and there was only one that I went head to head with, and he ended up quitting, but you know, because he wasn't just very good at his job. But the other guys, they were on it, and when they needed something, I was there. When I needed something, they were there. You know, I went through a rough patch in my personal life, and they got me home every weekend, but kept me at the over-the-road pay instead of the short-haul pay. And you know, and they realized that if I was happy, then you know, and that's the thing. Happy customers, or not, happy employees, make productive employees. And that's the only way I can explain it. Now there are some people out there that you just can't make happy, no matter what you do, no matter what truck you assign them, no matter what dispatcher they have. They are just difficult people to get along with. And and you see those people, they tend to job hop a lot. I know a guy that had like 10 different companies in 8 years. That may not be, you either hate trucking's not for you, or you're just an ass to get along with. So I just had my first breakdown. Passenger side window switch went bad. Hopefully in the up position, not the down position, Provost. That's what the prime driver was saying. He has all digital dash and he's having all kinds of electronic issues. Fuel locks cleans all sensors. I'll have to remember that. But yeah, I mean that's I remember that guys remember that show Freewheeling on Sirius XM? There was a guy that called in, or no, a gal that called in and said that she only drives from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and she has her dog with her, and she won't drive in the dark. She won't go to any major city. And she had been at 14 different companies in 1 year. And I wanted to call in and say, chick, you need to find a company that you dispatch yourself and you make a truck payment. That's the only way you're going to make it. I guarantee you 100%, if I had to bet all my money on that, which isn't much, I would bet that she is not driving a truck anymore. Start over, Big Rig Radio Network. What's up, Jeff? You started smoking because Big Rig CO does? That's interesting. I know a lot of people that smoke because of the military. Because if you wanted a break, it was either smoke break or no break. My sister smokes because of the Air Force. So she was like, well, everybody else gets breaks. I guess I'll start smoking so I get a break too. I think it's funny when people emanate, and I know you're probably kidding, Sean, but I don't understand the obsession with certain YouTubers and everything that they do. It boggles my mind that somebody can be so obsessed with another person, like to the point of background checks and financials and recorded phone conversations. I mean, obsession it's a nasty beast. I had an ex that stalked me. It was kind of scary. I never want to go through that again. You like your warranty hugs? Can you get warranties on hugs? I didn't know that. A digital dash must cost a pretty penny if it ever goes out on you. Yeah, I would imagine. Hell, the little control box they thought was going bad on my APU, that's like $500. But it's kind of the brains of the outfit too, so. No, John, this may shock you guys, but I actually have a load to deliver. So I actually got to work today. So no, this will not be a 15-hour live feed. Spectre does too, and he's healthy. Says Sean. Well, whatever floats your boat, man. Whatever floats your boat. I don't think there's a YouTuber out here I want to emanate completely. Not in the trucking world, at least. No offense, guys, but you know, I would pay a lot for equipment that went down on me. And you will. We do. Dennis, what's up? I mean, the truck's getting ready to cost me some more money. So, I mean, it's look, it's here's the difference between a trucking business, if you're a one truck pony, or even if you're a fleet owner, versus a brick and mortar store, right? Brick and mortar store, your costs are utilities, insurance, supply, you know, like, you know, if you're selling things, right? Employees. Even if you own a small shop that you run yourself, but you pretty much, your rent might go up sometimes, or your lease might go up sometimes, or the supplies, like instead of, you know, $10 per piece, you're paying $12 per piece of something, you know. Or like food, if you're running a restaurant, you know, food costs go up, which, you know, you're going to start seeing that inflation in the restaurants, by the way. But for the most part, it's not depreciating. In this world, I don't care what truck you buy. You could buy the nicest, most awesomest truck ever. It's still a depreciating asset. And that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. You know, if you look at a contractor that runs bulldozers, you know, they have to get new bulldozers every so often, right? And so this equipment is run the same way. Now, a lot of people buy one truck and they pay it off, and that's the truck they own forever. That happens, but it's more of a rarity than the norm. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that was the norm. You bought the truck, and you know, now it's out in the field somewhere. And that was the only truck you own. What was that guy Spooner that's has a 6 million mile truck? So, you know, you just keep rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding, and that's your new truck. I can buy a new crate motor for this truck for $45. You know, and $45,000 is easier to stomach in payments than $180,000. So it just depends on how you want to run. My issue with buying a new truck, besides the lack of confidence in them, is the note. In order to make the truck affordable at my lifestyle, I would want a 6-year note. And I don't know if I have another 6 years out here. So I might not. You know, Provost and I have talked about this. I'm sure he's yelling at his phone right now. But you have to be, whether you buy used or new, you're going to be in that truck for at least 2 or 3 or 4 years before you're not upside down in it anymore, depending on how much you paid for it. And that's the important part, is how much can you be in it where you can break even if you get rid of the truck. So your truck and repairs is your brick and mortar. Yeah, but it fluctuates, Anthony. That's true. Whereas, you know, for example, this truck averaged about $12,000 a year in maintenance and repair. The first 2 years. The last 2 years we're on track for 20. So it's kind of like the rent going up, right? And you know, look, if you're going to buy one truck and pay it off, make sure it's a truck that you love. Like, you would go to any means necessary to keep that truck. And I think that's a big part of it. And I think that's why a lot of guys, for the last truck of their career, they get, you know, big hooded trucks or nice trucks, you know, or that one last new truck. Then you have guys out here that buy an old Columbia every 2 years, you know. I mean, it's just, there's 1,000 ways to do it. Thankfully, you paid your truck off Frilly because of all your unvalid truck expenses. That's probably helped a bit. John, the biggest help of paying my truck off early, and I know James Best gave me grief for paying my truck off early, but first of all, the math said that I saved $1,500. Okay, but the other aspect is the time. I had to deal with my mom's stuff, which took me out for a month. There was some stuff that I had to deal with that took me out another month back in February, and then the downtime that the truck has given me. I think this will be the least amount of miles I've run in the last 6 years as an owner operator. Not having the payment this year has definitely made things a lot easier. You know, I won't lie, but complacency can be an enemy, and it could be really easy for me to go, well, you know, I don't have a truck payment, so let's not run. No, it's not like that. Downtime is the big part that having no payment has really helped. Forced downtime. Steve, have you heard the actual MPG with the new 680? Logistically disturbed? No. I'm sure they've said it in the videos. Kenworth's got videos on the new 680. I know they're claiming 2 digits, but you know, again, you know, Jeff brought up a point. You know, how are they testing it? Is it flat ground? Is it heavy loads? I know the safety manager over at Transland, and I'm sure I can get the fuel mileage of the new Max that they bought. You know, because they've had them over a year now. I'd be curious to see what those are. But again, it's like, it's a new truck. You know, it could, in theory, make, you know, 8 miles to the gallon, but reality is what happens after a year, because, you know, and then there's the break-in period. I have a friend of mine that got a new 680 6 months ago. First month, he couldn't get good fuel mileage, but once that truck was broke in, he's getting the best fuel mileage he's ever had in his career. So. Farmers face some consequences, combines and implements. Yes, if you have a big bank loan as a farmer, they require you to upgrade your equipment. Don't beat your equipment. Yep. You know, and a lot of it is how much torture do you put your truck through. If you're an oil field guy, you probably put your truck through a lot, right? Whereas if you're just running like dedicated freight between Effingham, Illinois and Indianapolis, Indiana, that truck's not going to go nowhere near the hard work that an oil field truck or a truck that runs the up and northwest. That's a big part of it too, regional. Now, someone was mentioned about Smith trucks earlier. What areas does that company run? So if I wanted to buy an old Smith truck, that truck's probably been exposed to a lot of northeast. So there's probably a lot of salt, so there's probably a lot of corrosion, so you got to look out for rust, and you got to look at what the wires look like and all that. If you got a truck that runs primarily southwest, it probably doesn't see a whole lot of salt, but it'll have a lot of sun damage, you know, that kind of thing. So I mean, you know, and then what kind of mountainous terrains do they run? Now, if you run all 48 states, you know, then who knows what you're going to get. And that's what most prime trucks are. They're all 48 states. They're governed, so they've never been hot rodded. They've never been, you know, abused, especially if they're automated. But they've had to work hard, you know. When you run 58 miles an hour as your max, and you got to go through the mountains of Pennsylvania with 45,000 pounds with those craft loads, yeah, that's tough on a motor. That's tough on everything. So, you know. Bob is getting 20 or 7.2 haul, only heavy loads, 45 plus. There you go. Old TMC trucks are good. Yes, Big Houston, I will agree with that. I wanted to buy an old TMC truck, but they were too expensive. But we do have, I think we got a couple of those on the fleet. I could be wrong though. So, but look, there's no, with the new truck, they get you in a lease program that's ridiculously expensive. Not just in the truck, but it's the other fees as well. They might, oh, our truck payments are only $100 a week. Yeah, but then they charge you for this, they charge you for that, they charge you for that. Oh, did you sneeze in the truck? We're going to charge you for that. You know, little stuff like that. And I exaggerate, but you know what I mean. And so it's all about costs. And so, you know, I see people all the time, hey, you know, can I make money at Snyder as an owner operator? Well, we need more info than that. And I've thought about doing a call-in show. I know James Best wants me to do it. But I would have to do it at home with the laptop, with my microphone, so I can get the phone call in there pretty good. But you can't do all your research through YouTube. You can't like just put a chat question in and get the answers you're looking for, because everybody's going to be different. And so, you know, if you talk to 10 experienced owner operators, what do they tell you? And then pick out the things that might relate to you and your needs, or who's got the similar needs, you know, and then filter all that out. You know, do you have kids at home? Is your spouse on board with this? Do you have, you know, a bunch of bills at home? Do you have a lot of debt? Do you have good credit? Do you have money in the bank? Do you have a cushion if things go wrong? You know, all these are questions that you need to answer. Do you need health insurance? And you want to get life insurance. So if I buy a $180,000 truck, I want to have good life insurance, because I don't want to stick my wife with the bill of a brand new truck. If I pass away, it'll get repossessed or credit gets shot, you know? So you have to take so many things into account. But a lot of carriers will make it seem like it's easy. We're the gateway. We're the way that you can get into this business easier. And you really have to watch out, because they want to take advantage of the new person. They want to take advantage of a person that doesn't know any better or doesn't do their research. They want to take advantage of that. So you really have to be careful of that. There's a lot of predators in this industry. There's a lot of predators out there in the world, in the business world altogether, but trucking is rampant with it. You know, that's why these mega carriers, other than the government subsidies that they get for, not subsidies, but government money that they get for putting new meat in the seat, they want you to be naive. I talked to a fleet owner that, not a fleet owner, but a safety director of a company, that the driver said, hey, there's 3 rivets missing from this trailer. And he's like, the guy was like, oh, no, you go ahead and run with it. It's okay. It was dispatched, and safety came in and said, no, that's not okay. But he was taking advantage of the naivety, or however you say that word, that he wouldn't know any better. But at least he knew enough to ask safety. So, I mean, you got to watch out for people taking advantage of you. So that you got to have a mindset, you know. That's just all there is to it. I live in the Northeast. Can tell you from experience that riding is definitely an issue. Wiring is definitely an issue. We call them the green crusties. I just wish truck prices would go back down. Even private sellers think they got gold. Yes, that is absolutely true. Look at the train yard trucks. They look like something out of Mad Max. I believe that. Most intermodal NITs in Dallas and Houston are pre-def, along with looking like no insurance coverage. I worked at a company that took advantage of their drivers. We all have. So it's about money, guys. And when it comes to money, I mean, the downfall of this country is going to be greed and ego. And it's tough to find business owners that aren't inflicted with one or the other or both. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's about making money. That's the truth. If you don't run good enough for your carrier, they don't want you. You know, whether you're owner op, lease op, you know, lease payments on most lease purchases are weekly payments. Why is that? Because they need you running. So, you know, if you're willing to accept the challenges, if you're willing to accept the elements that come with owning a business in the trucking world, then, you know, you have to have a certain mindset to get over that. You know, a lot of people don't, unfortunately, a lot of people just don't have that. And they either get taken advantage of, or they do everything wrong because they didn't do the research, or they surround themselves with the wrong people. You know, and after a year later, they quit, they get out of the truck, and then they tell everybody else, don't ever become an owner-operator because it sucks. You know, they have a negative attitude about it. And I found that most people that don't make it in this business is because they didn't keep an eye on their costs, or they had a crappy attitude, or both. Okay, I already read that. So, anyways, we're getting fairly close for me to start my pre-trip. If you guys got anything else, we'll talk about it. If not, you know, yeah, I'll give you a prime example, right? There's an older truck, right? That guy obviously keeps it up. It's one of those old Freightliner. Lots of room in those trucks. That's why I learned how to drive in trucking school. I'm not a fan of the stacks being in the way when you look in the mirrors backing up, but you know, it's an older reefer trailer. It's got a few dings on it, like right there, you know. I guarantee you that guy's costs are fairly low, and he probably can work on that truck himself. Anyways, sorry, I was checking emails. But, you know, and it's about business relationships too. If you're hard to work with, brokers won't want to work with you. Carriers won't want to work with you. People won't want to help you. So, you know, there's a level of you gotta be nice. You gotta be nice. Can you be nice? And don't lie. You know? If your safety guy calls and says, hey, what's going on with this log, and they figure out that you're lying, you know, that's not good. Just be truthful. You know, have good intentions. That guy parked way forward. He's going to want to back up if he wants the next truck to get around him. But don't let people take advantage of you. That's all there is to it. And people will. People will, so. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you if you made it this far. Give me a thumbs up on the way out. You guys can give me some thumbs up while we look at this bird. We're bird watching. Give me a thumbs up for the bird. Now. Bird haters. Yeah, I'm talking about you, bird. These birds are cool. You know why? Because they get on your hood and they eat the radiator bugs. Crazy bird. Do your pre-trip and post-trip and log fueling and unloading and loading, you'll be good. It's easy as that, right? Take care out there, everyone. Graf says, crazy bird, awesome rye guy, thank you. In my opinion, the world's going to get tough. Tougher than it is now. You're going to need your wits about you. Get everything straight. Because it's about to be a bumpy ride. Anyways, but you still got to get positive. You still got to be positive. You still got to have faith. You still got to persevere. And if all else fails, just keep your nose forward and keep going. Keep swimming. So, with that being said, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the thumbs up. We don't have a bunch of bird haters. That's great, because birds are our friends. So with that being said, guys, I gotta use the restroom in here, start my pre-trip, and put this phone back on the charger. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. You're good to go, and hopefully we'll start a call-in show so I can give this advice more personally. So that being said, peace.